talk to us about the process. You mentioned you did 3 years of research, so walk us through the process.
I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, hip-hop kid. And I lived in Brooklyn, Brooklyn represent 16 years. So for me to go make a film in India, I really wanted to create a story that was authentic and was an anthem of Ahmedabad. And for me to do that, I had to let go of that American point of view, and I'm sure Seema and Nawaz will touch on that a little bit. So it began with 3 years of research. And I remember the first year being very kind of timid and asking people to, help me out to talk to someone. And I got an opportunity to talk to the grandmothers and the politicians and the gambling bookies. And Ahmedabad is a very special place. It's a place that deals with adversity in an amazing way. And it's also a place that has been affected by a lot of religious violence in the past as well as natural disaster. So you're navigating a pretty complex territory, American kid comes down and tries to understand the place. So that process of observation, we shot 100 hours of research footage, and by the 3rd year I could hold the camera a foot from somebody and they would be themselves. And it was that process that the stories emerged, as well as kind of drawing upon my own family. But I just found that everyday magic, I wanted to preserve that, allow people to live on screen. And so that research process was really important. And when we shot on the street, we knew everybody. And there was a lot of love from this community. And I just fell in love with the place.
मैं जब तुमसे मिला था, गॉगल्स पहन के आया था।
और काले नहीं, अंदर थे हम लोग।
हाँ, मुझे लगा कि शायद मैं गॉगल्स में अच्छा लग रहा हूँ।
He was saying, oh, I came and saw you the first time with sunglasses, and I was like, yeah. And he said, oh, I guess I thought I looked really cool in sunglasses.
And what about our lovely Seema? How did?
I mean, I fell in love with her a long time ago with the performances that she's done, and she'll touch a little bit on it. We sent her the script. I don't think she connected with the script at first. It's a good story from her perspective. It's basically my story as well in terms of how we found her. But I eventually was very honored that she chose to work on this film.
Seema, what was your reaction? You've been very selective in all the films you've done, so you must have felt connected in some way.
Yeah, I know that when casting director Anjali Punjabi, she gave me the script and gave me the little brief narration about this film. But when I read the script, structurally it was interesting, but like something it's not properly beginning, middle and end and all. Structurally something interesting at the same time, I didn't like, I can't say that I didn't like the role, but there was, for me, like there is nothing to perform, like it's kind of backdrop, I can see that woman is moving here and there. For me, like silently, moving this character, why am I there? So there is nothing to perform. Then Prashant sent me long email, about the character. So when I read it, it was interesting. Even then I was not 100% sure that, as I mentioned that, Chicago guy, like how much he knows about India and his point of view, focusing on, oh, this man is eating, poor guy, not wearing chappal. And see, that cat is crossing the road. So that's why I thought, okay, let me go and see that, this whole thing set up and what's the attitude towards making this film. Then I was very much impressed. And he was playing with kids, children, all those slum kids, and somebody was sitting on his lap, somebody was really sitting and introducing me in front of them like they are all dearest friend, and he was telling me that I always in broken Hindi only, I always treat those kids like my friend. You should not ever treat them like a kid, you know. So gradually, you know, like his mother also, you know, taking me, she had whole agenda, taking me here and there, you know, the market, fish, I mean, vegetable market, then how this transform into, you know, like a food hub in the evening, and then somebody's places who was exactly like my character, Sudha. Then we started these three women that where we went, and Ranjana ji and myself. And we started talking and formal, gradually become like three women in one family, like cutting vegetables and making food, and just we finished, then went to visit, she took me to the temple. So whole this process for whole one day, it was really interesting for me, and I felt like I was being Indian, I felt like I'm outsider, I'm a foreigner, and these people are like from Chicago, but they are local Ahmedabad people, you know, like, so I feel like, Seema, shame on you. So it was very interesting and exciting for me, inspiring, that I thought, okay, I should be part of it.
So all of our staging, in terms of blocking, there was no blocking. We had 2 small digital cameras. We would be shooting amongst traffic. When Bobby's in the electronic shop, he's really in the electronic shop, and he's been working there 2 days. Everyone's familiar with him. The people in the electronic shop are telling people not to look at the camera, just do what you were doing before. The Kite Festival itself, no one really cares. An interesting scene with the wedding singing is that Nawaz actually trained as a singer, spent time with the band, and then that wedding procession was a real wedding procession where he was on one side lip-syncing, and the other side the real singer was there. So, you know, that process, you really want to pay a lot of respect to the community. Those patience is really required. In that process, my crew hated me. The Mumbai, you know, crew that came, a boom operator holding a boom for 2 hours because we're doing a scene. I mean, he's just ready to kill me, you know. So the sound design, the sound recorder there really did enjoy it. Actually, I'd like to request if Tom, you can come up to the stage and just talk a little bit about the process of the sound design. I really love that you know, it's such a subtle and beautiful job you did, and then also the kite battle sequences and exuberance, you know, bridging those two. What was that process like?
Well, I've done a few films that were sort of part documentary, you know, neo-realism, some people call it, but I've worked with Ramin Barani on some of his films, and what was interesting is that you, from the start, you sort of said, well, you know, I like the realism, but I also want to go bigger. You know, I want to take it to the next level. And of course, as a sound designer, that's what you love to hear. You know, we actually get to do something bigger. And I always believe that people go to the movies to see something bigger than real life. We all get real life every day. So I think with some films, it's really nice to find moments to stretch that. And you were very receptive.
What were some of those scenes like that you had that opportunity with?
Well, I think we did it a lot all over, but well, certainly the big one is the kite scene, which everyone will notice. And actually, the funny story behind that is that we had talked about, you know, warring kites and what they might be, and some kind of bold design, and the kite maybe swishing through the air. And then you brought in a, I think it was like a Nike soccer commercial, and it was around the time of World Cup, and it was completely intense sound design, you know, like one of those really high-end soccer commercials with the ball flying in the net and the crowd going crazy, and it was like, you know, this, and we looked at each other like, you know, my crew, and we're like, oh my God, this is really what he wants, you know, this big thing. And then we got this whole idea of the Gladiator theme. Abigail Savage, who was doing the sound design, he said, yeah, I'm into it, let's try it, you know. So, you know, that's, a lot of those, you know, sounds you probably noticed are all swords, sword shings and sword cutting, and we just kind of went crazy with it, just, you know, let it go, and he loved it. So.
Nawaz, you've this was your first feature role. this was something different than what you had done before. Could you talk about the experience of the actual production?
एक्चुअली जो कन्वेंशनल जो एक्टिंग है परफॉर्मेंस वो करते आए थे हम लोग के डायलॉग दे दिया याद कर लिया लेकिन जब प्रशांत के पास पहुंचा प्रशांत यहाँ पे पहुंचे शूटिंग करने के लिए तो उसका बिल्कुल ही अलग स्टाइल था.
So he came and usually you get some dialogue and you have some lines and you're supposed to memorize it and action cut. But when he arrived on the set of Patang or to do the preparation, it was completely different.
इसने रियल एनवायरनमेंट और रियल जो नॉन एक्टर्स थे उनके साथ छोड़ दिया और एसेंस बता दिया सीन का ये है और जॉब करो. अब 3-4 घंटे तक कैमरा लगा हुआ है कैसे करें क्या तो कहीं ना कहीं बीच में 1-1.5 घंटा बोर होते थे फिर वहीं से कहीं से प्रोसेस शुरू होती थी.
So I told him the essence and the final result was that through a grueling 200 hours of footage shot, 2 years of edit where there was a lot of depression and weird stuff at home and Father had to listen to the same scene over and over in the other room. Finally the result of the film is that 90% of the script is in the final product.